that you know kind of what leaky gut is, I'm going to go into how do you repair it. And I'm holding my cameraman hostage because he really wants to take a shower and I won't let him. So David won't let him. So anyhow, the easiest and kind of number one way to fix the low hydrochloric acid in your stomach is drinking celery juice on an empty stomach. I know it doesn't sound that great or grand or whatever, but the source that I pulled that from, I tested it, and I've been doing it probably for 3-4 weeks, and it has worked kind of wonders as far as, like, I used to wake up with kind of a nauseous, hungry, gnarly feeling in my stomach. And what it does, it rebalances your minerals and your salts. You know, like I said before, I do a lot of hot yoga, and that can kind of deplete you if you're not replacing it. So I think that's kind of what my problem was. It is a little bit bitter. It's not for a lightweight. You got to put a straw in it, put a little bit of apple juice or pineapple juice in it just to cut the flavor. It's kind of bitter, and just go. Just drink it down. Don't stop. But, you know, the benefits are worth it. If you don't juice, you might be able to eat the celery and get the same effect, but you'd have to eat kind of like 6 big stalks of celery, which is kind of a lot of chewing, and you really want to do it just celery, no peanut butter or hummus or anything, and that's kind of gross. I don't like eating celery. It just takes too much time. So anyhow, the next best thing to do is, like I said before, remove the heavy metals, get the heavy metals out of your diet. Don't eat things like fish oil, things that are known to have like a lot of mercury or aluminum. So try to get those out of your diet the best that you can. And how do you do that? Like I said before, seaweed, algae, spirulina, those kind of like dark green sea vegetables that you typically are going to have to buy in powder form. You might be able to get them in liquid. They're not something that's part of most people's diets, so you really have to seek that out. But that's the best way to remove the heavy metals. Because what the heavy metals do, like I said in the depression video, it settles wherever a heavy metal settles in your body. It damages all the tissue around it. So, you know, and it's not a huge tissue, but over time, if you have a lot of it, it's going to start damaging a lot of your intestines. And then when those cells become damaged, they change, and that actually becomes the feeding ground for the bad bacteria like E. coli, C. diff, H. pylori, Streptococcus A and B, all these kind of things that you really don't want to experience ever. Those kind of like feed off of that and just attack. And once you get something like E. coli or C. diff, it's a nightmare. It takes forever to clear up. If it can come back, it's just a nightmare altogether. You really, really want to avoid it at all costs. Because what that does is cause severe inflammation. It can lead to things like, you know, if you get about a C. diff, you can very well end up with IBS, Crohn's disease, colitis, diverticulitis, all, you know, kind of hateful diseases to really inconvenience your life. When these bad bacteria or pathogens consume the heavy metals, they actually release a neurotoxic gas. That gas attaches itself to the ammonia gas that I talked about from the food rot that's happening into your stomach. So they both pair up, go to your bloodstream, and actually wreak havoc, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, like partners in crime. They just go in, they just cause all kinds of destruction in your bloodstream. You're not absorbing nutrients. You know, you're having problems with fatigue, anxiety. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Everything from minor things like indigestion, unless you have indigestion, it's not minor, all the way down to Crohn's disease, which is pretty serious. Another way to kind of heal leaky gut or, you know, ammonia permeability is to restore your B12. Now, most Americans have a B12 deficient diet, whether you're eating a lot of junk food, fast food, soda, that's kind of keeping things from being nutrients from being absorbed, or you are vegetarian or vegan, you're not eating meat, so you're not getting the B12 from that you typically would get if you would eat meat. Not that you should go eat meat to take B12, but that's where I'm deficient. I take B12. I specifically take methyl B12, and what methylation is a process that happens in your ileum, which is the last part of your small intestines, and that's where the methylation happens. That's what that's all about, and that's where B12 is either made or absorbed. Your body ideally will make it from the food you eat, the nutrients. That's where the methylation process comes in. A lot of people's methylation process is jacked up from bad diet, toxins, stress, all these negative things that affect everything else also affect that, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. But if you're deficient in B12, it can jack up your thyroid, jack up your adrenal glands, make you feel tired. Yes, you can get B12 shots, but that's a Band-Aid, and that's not solving why you're not absorbing B12. So the reason why you need that's why I kind of like said in the depression video, you absolutely need the methyl B12. There are two kinds of B12s you can get. What typically comes in a standard multivitamin is cyanocobalamin, which is kind of a synthetic B12, and that will not be absorbed, so you're just excreting it. And so if you're buying B12 and it's not methyl B12, you're just having kind of expensive urine. And typically I think I get the methyl B12 for like $6 or $8 a bottle, so it's not very expensive, for like 100 pills. So it's not very expensive, and it really will help with energy levels and food digestion and elimination. So you really want to look into that. Another super easy way and effective way to heal your leaky gut, other than becoming a full-blown vegan, and that's not always the answer, is juicing. By the time you see this, it'll be day 4 of a juice fast. If you can do a juice fast, or at least say breakfast and lunch fast and then eat dinner, that gives your whole digestive system a break. Like I said way back in the juicing videos, it hits your stomach hits your system within 20 minutes and it's absorbed. So your intestines don't have to work hard, your ileum doesn't have to work hard, your colon, all of it can kind of just chill and not have to constantly be breaking down food, because juice is basically broken down. So you're just getting liquid vitamins straight into your system. It's not for someone new to juicing. It's not for someone new to vegetables. So I'm doing it just because sometimes I feel like my body needs a break. If you think about it, we've been digesting food since the day we were born. So if you're 40, 50 years old, that's a lot of day in, day out, 3, 4, anywhere from up to 10 times a day. You're digesting food. Your body's just constantly working. You get that bloat, you get that fatigue because you're not getting the nutrients absorbed. So the juicing fast, even if you could just do it one day, I'm shooting for 6. We'll see how that goes. But typically, when I would do a juice fast before, I would definitely do breakfast and lunch, and then maybe eat dinner if I felt like I needed it. But, when I say juice, I'm not talking about 12 ounces. I'm talking about 32 ounces 3 times a day at least. And, kind of gives your body a break, and you reset, and you'll be amazed at how much energy you have. So that's something you can try. It's up to you. Things that I don't do. I don't take probiotics. Probiotics are manufactured, and typically if you have an unbalance of hydrochloric acid in your stomach, that usually means you have a high alkaline or high adrenaline cortisol acid going on there. So the probiotics usually don't make it to your small intestines. They get eaten up by the high acid cortisol adrenaline. And then everybody says, oh, well, there's probiotics in yogurt. Well, it's not worth to eat the mucus to get the probiotics. So those aren't the probiotics that your body needs anyway. They're good. They're not bad. They're not the whole picture, and you need the whole picture to fix all of that. What you actually need is something called elevated microorganisms or elevated biotics. This is what live on raw, uncooked fruits and vegetables. You know, there's vegan and there's raw vegan. I'm not fully raw vegan. I try the best I can. Sometimes some vegetables like eggplant and zucchini, I just can't eat raw. I have to cook it. But I do a lot of juicing, so it makes up for it. And sprouts. I love sprouts of all kinds. They're like a little miracle food. You know, they're just these things you kind of throw on a sandwich or throw on a pita, and you can kind of shove them in there, put some hummus on it, and you can get a lot of probiotics or microbiotics from fruits and vegetables. We're meant to eat those. We're meant to break those down. So it kind of restores your gut flora without eating yogurt or taking some manufactured probiotic out of a bottle, which typically are very expensive. Good ones are usually $30 to $40 a bottle, which might last you a month. So, you know, it can be kind of salty rather than just eating vegetables. Another thing I kind of don't do is fermented food. Every once in a while I'll drink kombucha, but it's not something I do every day. It's not something I do every week. It's kind of like a once in a while kind of thing if I feel like I just want to boost it up a little bit, but it's not, the fermenting bacteria is not the same as the living raw bacteria. So you always want to go with the living raw bacteria first. And it's not, you know, they have these fads like drinking apple cider vinegar or eating tons of sauerkraut, or I hate sauerkraut. I don't know what it is, but I just can't stand it. So the fermented foods actually don't heal your gut like the misconception is. You have to have the enzymes from the raw living foods. You have to clear your hydrochloric acid. You have to get all these different things in line. So it's not just one simple thing. Like I said before in the previous video, if you disrupt one system, you disrupt the whole entire thing. So I hope I didn't bore you too much with science. So if you have any questions, please list them. If you're looking for some of the previous videos, I know on the Facebook feed it kind of gets lost. I do upload all these videos to YouTube, so you can find me at Claudia Anderson on YouTube, and they're all listed right there. You don't have to scroll through a Facebook feed or my Facebook page. So I get to juicing. I hope, you know, everybody can bring something from this, and hopefully heal your gut. And I'll see you next time.